All right, guys, first off, as always, good morning. I should say good day. Glad you're here. So, today we're going to be looking at the beginning parts of the Civil War. Okay. But first, we got to kind of jump back a little bit because there is an important event that happened that we need to talk about. Okay. So, let's look at the objectives today. We're going to analyze whether Fort Sumter was a legitimate battle because you're going to find out something about this particular battle. And then we're going to examine the first assassination attempt on Abraham Lincoln. Now, throughout his, you can see his term, because he only served out really one. He was elected two. That there were several assassination attempts, several kidnapping attempts, but the thing is, none of them worked. Okay, and then we're going to create an argument on whether John Brown should be considered a martyr. Okay, I'm going to tell you what that word means. That's another thing too. You guys were supposed to have a vocab this week, but because I can't find a really good worksheet or website to use, I'm going to give it to you guys next week. So hopefully between now and then I find a good one. All right, so here's your warm-up picture. The first one says to analyze the picture and basically what's going on in this picture. What's going on? What's happening here? Okay. Um, The second question asks you to make a prediction on what do you think happened to a majority of the people on that in that building. All right, what do you think happened to a majority of the people in that building? Okay, so go ahead, write your responses. Um, Pause the video because we're moving on to the notes in three, two, one. All right, so this guy right here, you see here, this is John Brown. We actually talked about him a little bit a couple weeks ago about when the new territories, New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, things like that, when they basically started they became part of the United States, how they were trying to get populate people from free states and slave states to go into these territories. John Brown was one of those guys who's set up towns to try to get more free free people in there. Because if they have more people who feel that the slaves should be free, then that state would become a free state, not a slave state. And that way they can get rid of slavery. So he would set up little towns around and things like that. Now he felt that, you know what, talking to these people who want slavery, talking is over because we've talked and talked and talked and they are not listening. They're not listening and they don't want to listen. So he feels revolt is the only way to get them to listen. You have to kick them in the teeth, in a sense, is what he's saying. So he's starting to go more towards violence to basically get rid of slavery. Now, here's his plan. The thing is to go in and kill the slave owners, get the slaves, give them guns, and then go to another plantation, kill those owners, give those slaves more guns, and then just grow and grow and grow and grow to the point where he amassed a whole army of former slaves. And who's going to stand in their way? You know, really nobody. So first things first, they need weapons. So October 16th, 1859, they go to Harper's Ferry, Virginia, to go to the National Armory to get weapons. So it's him, his sons, and in total there's 13 white people. Sorry about this, and 5 free black men. But the thing is, they're seeing the alarm is set, and the U.S. Marines come in. Now here's the thing: the guy who is leading it is Robert E. Lee. He plays a very significant role in the Civil War. So it's really important that you keep his name in the back of your head because you're going to hear it quite a bit. Okay. Now they have a fight. They're shooting at each other, things like that. So the Marines and John Brown's people, they're fighting each other. And what ended up happening is John Brown's son dies. Right, one of his sons gets shot and killed. And then sometime later, John Brown surrenders. He is captured, executed. And the thing is, Frederick Douglass is another person we talked about in the past, the free black man who wrote the book and stuff like that about slavery. He looked at John Brown and goes, you know what? Here's this white man. He could have easily lived his life with all the privileges and perks of being a white man at this time and lived a fabulous life. He could have kicked back and done all this stuff and not even worry about slavery. But he didn't. He did something. He stepped up and said, this is wrong, and this is what I'm going to do to try to correct it. All right? He thought about other people besides himself. His own son got killed. You know, that's a man. That's a person we should all look up to. Things like that. So John Brown becomes a martyr. Now, a martyr is somebody who dies for a purpose. You know, people like Jesus, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, people like that, you know, they died for a purpose, you know, usually for a peace and things like that. But here's the thing. Jesus, Gandhi, Martin Luther didn't use violence. John Brown did. So there's some people who are upset that, you know, why is he being considered a martyr when he was using violence? You know, the Southern people were very upset. I mean, they were enraged. Excuse me. They were trying to say that the Northerners are trying to get the slaves to have guns, and then their mentality switches. They go, Republicans. It's this Republican group, this political group, Republicans. They're the ones who want to get the slaves guns and then attack us and kill us until they could be free. You know, so the Southern people are really becoming paranoid. They're becoming more and more angry and, you know, vicious and stuff like that. Now, in April 1860, the election year, the Democrats get together, the Republicans get together. Okay, they're seeing who to nominate for president. But the thing is, at this convention, once someone started talking about slave codes, okay, slave codes. Remember, there's Democrats in the North. There's some people in the North who feel, yeah, you know what, slavery probably would be a good thing. You know, maybe it's okay that we have it. But they're saying, but maybe we should put limitations. You know, limit the number of slaves, how much they work, how they're treated, punishments, things like that. As soon as stuff like that was mentioned, the Southern Democrats, they left. They said, you know what, we don't want to hear this crap. So they left. That's how much they felt about. That's how much they felt for slavery, that they wanted to keep it. They didn't want to hear anyone telling them how to run it, how it should be done, and things like that. Because if you do that, they felt like if you do that, then they're going to want more stuff. They're going to say, well, then we should end slavery and things like that. So they took off. So here's my first question to you. Do you believe John Brown should be considered a martyr? You know, somebody who died for a purpose, you know, usually a noble purpose. Or do you think no? You know, again, somebody like Jesus, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, they all died for a purpose, but they did use non-violence. He used a violent way. What do you think? What do you believe? Okay. Again, I'm not looking for the PC answer. I want to know what you think. Now, another thing too, I know some people are getting things off the internet, straight off the internet, you know, because again, the language really gives it away. So basically what I've done is when I see something that you guys write and doesn't look like you would actually say that, I basically highlight it, put it on the internet and look, and sure enough, I see websites that pop up with the exact wording. You know, because again, that's the language they use is language you really don't use. High school students don't typically use. So, yeah. So be sure you're actually putting what you believe, not what somebody on some website believes. All right, so here's the thing. I had a lot of students asking about this. You guys actually called me out on it a couple weeks before. Some students were like, "Where's his Lincoln's beard and hat?" When we're talking about when he was a senator and when he did the Lincoln Douglas debates, Lincoln Douglas debates. A lot of you guys are telling me where's the black outfit, the beard, the hat. That didn't come out till later. And the beard is an interesting story. It actually came about because of an 11-year-old girl named Grace Bedell. Now, Grace Bedell was a young lady who basically told him, "Hey, you're a nice man, you're really funny, but you look sick and you look really thin." She goes, "You should grow out your beard, you know." And basically, Lincoln's like, "Hey, should I grow out my beard?" And his advisor people are like, "It probably wouldn't look bad if you did." So he grew it out, and that became the one of the iconic images of Lincoln is that beard. You know, and it all happened because of this 11-year-old girl. Okay. Now, like I told you last week, um, when Lincoln became president, there was a lot of states are like, we're going to leave if he's elected president. And he's elected president. So they're all like, so are we going to leave? About a month after the election, December 17th, they have a convention. They all meet and they're talking about, can we legally leave? If we do, who's going to go with us? Things like that. South Carolina was the first state to go, you know what? We're out of here. Here's the thing. Can they legally do that? Yes. Yes. If California wanted to leave the United States, we can do that. There is nothing by law that's really holding us together. That's what we're called the United States, not the United by Law states. Okay? So we're united just because we want to form one nation. But if one state wants to leave, fine, then leave. But you're on your own. Okay? Now, the thing is, other states follow the next month. Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, things like that. All southern states. Okay, that's another key thing you need to realize. They're all southern states. Now, here's the thing. Lincoln is leaving Springfield, Illinois to go to Washington, D.C. So he's going by train. And every so often he's stopping, meeting the people, things like that, giving little speeches. But the thing is, word comes to him that there's a plot to kill him in Baltimore. Now remember, he's elected president, but he hasn't been sworn in as president. Okay, he's not sworn in as president yet. Excuse me. Now the thing is, um, the plot is that when Lincoln comes to Baltimore, which he plans to do, which he said he was going to do, he was going to come to Baltimore and meet the people. That the uh, killers were going to come in through those people and stab them, shoot them, things like that. And that was the plan, and then scatter amongst the people. Now, there's this group called the Pinkertons. Their real full name is the Pinkerton National Detective Agency. If you played the game Red Dead Redemption 2, you've heard the name before. But the thing is, these guys are no joke. These guys are paid protection. They they have some of the best guns. They're the best people. Trained people. Okay, and the thing is, they are ruthless. They will get the job done, whatever it takes. Okay, so they come to Lincoln. They're like, "Hey, you need to take this seriously," because this is a legitimate threat. There is real talk about this happening. So Lincoln's like, "Hey, I promise I'm going to be in Baltimore. I'm going to keep my promise." Okay, now here's the thing. This is where, again, Lincoln keeps his word, but he kind of stretches it. In Baltimore, around like 9 or 10 o'clock, um, Lincoln's train comes in, pulls in, some people getting out, this and that, and everyone's like, "Lincoln, Lincoln, Lincoln, Lincoln." And is everyone out of the train? Where's Lincoln? Even the conspirators, the people who wanted to kill Lincoln, were like, "Where's he at?" Thing is, Lincoln did what he said he was going to do. He did stop in Baltimore, but it was around like 2 or 3 in the morning. Lincoln took another train, went to Baltimore, and got down and went, "Oh, dang it, no one's here to meet me. Oh, well, I came to Baltimore, came out to say hi to everyone, but darn it." So he got back in the train and went to Washington, D.C. So he did keep his word by going to Baltimore to meet the people. He did that, got out the train, but nobody was waiting for him. Again, he never said what time. He just said he was going to do it. Okay. March 4th, 1861, Lincoln is inaugurated as our 16th president of the United States. Now, I know you see on the thing on the bottom, if you're looking at it, it says poll question. This is something we did in class, which is basically asking if you thought Lincoln looked better without the beard or with the beard. Okay, and it was like mixed results. Really, it was like kind of 50-50. So, Fort Sumter. This is an island in Charleston. That warm up picture you guys saw, that's it right there. That building you saw on fire, that was where those 5 flags are right there. That's where it was. Okay. Basically, what happened was North Carolina and all those other states left the United States. They basically said all this property, all this land belongs to us, and that includes the military buildings, military forts, and things like that. And this is where the United States is like, no, no, that's the United States property. It's like an embassy in another country. That building where the embassy is, that is American land. Same thing with them over here. China has an embassy here in the United States. That's China's land, whatever that area is. Okay. And the thing is, this is where the standoff happens. But Lincoln doesn't want to start the war. Lincoln doesn't want to be the one to provoke any type of fighting. You know, so he says, "Yeah, we're not giving it to you, but we're not going to start nothing either." But word gets to Lincoln that hey, those people in that island they need food and water. So Lincoln's like, okay, we'll send them food and water. So they get a ship, they put food, water, things like that for those people. The thing is, the Confederates, the Southern people, they see this ship coming into there. They figure, oh, they're giving them weapons, they're giving them cannons, they're giving them stuff. So they start shooting at that boat. The boat retreats because, again, they have nothing. They just have food and water for those people. So they turn back. Now, the Confederate general who's in charge of this whole situation meets up with the major who's in charge of this fort. They meet up, they talk, and the guy's like, hey, surrender that island to us. The other guy's like, dude, you're a soldier. You know I can't do that. He's like, well, we're at an impasse then. So they go back to their places, and on April 12th, the Confederates start shooting their guns, start shooting the cannons, things like that. Now, here's the interesting thing. The Confederates are shooting at this island. Nobody in this island is shooting back. They're ordered not to. Okay? So the Confederates, the Southern people are shooting, bang, bang, shooting cannons at this place. They're inside and they're not shooting back. Here's another little interesting thing. Nobody died. On that little island, which was basically where all this cannon fire is being shot at and things like that, no one dies. Not one person. But with that cannon fire, people believe, hey, that's the start of the Civil War. Okay. April 13th at 2:30 in the afternoon, the Major Robert Anderson, the guy in charge of that fort, basically comes out and says, okay, we surrender. But we need time to get all our stuff and leave. So the Confederate guy's like, okay, fine. Yeah, you'll have till tomorrow to get your stuff and leave. That's what they do. Okay. So that was Fort Sumter. Some people say, hey, that's the beginning of the war because of the cannon firing and stuff like that. But some people believe, well, the other side didn't fight back, so that's not really a battle. That's just a one-sided thing, you know. But the first major battle happened that first Bull Run. Okay, now Wilmer McLean, he's this guy you should really keep his name in the back of your head because he's going to come up at the end of the Civil War. Now the battle happened on his property. Okay, he was a member of the Virginia militia. The thing is, he was too old to fight, and so he said basically told the Confederate people, the Southern people, why don't you stay in my place? Use my house as the headquarters. So there are a bunch of Confederate soldiers outside in tents, things like that. Some soldiers are inside his house. They're having like breakfast, lunch, things like that. So they're eating. And the thing is, the Union, the Northern soldiers, they come up on them, and they're like, they're not expecting us. All right, set up the cannons and let's go. So the Confederate leader is the same guy from Fort Sumter. The Union leader, his name was Irwin McDowell. And what happens is they set up the northern people, the Union, they set up their cannons and they shoot a cannonball. Bah! Well, the thing is, the Confederate soldiers, like I told you, are eating like breakfast, lunch inside the house. And all of a sudden, there goes a cannonball right through the house. A lot of these soldiers are like, what the heck was that? Was that a cannonball? And all of a sudden, just cannonballs, gunfire starts happening. They get up, get their stuff, leave their food, and they go out there fight. Um, the Union had 35,000 soldiers. The Confederates had 20,000. Okay, so the blue, that is the Union. That's the North. The red, that's the South. That's the Confederate. Okay, so you can see from the map how the battle kind of went. In total, 480 Union people died. 390 Confederate died. 1,000 Union soldiers were wounded, 1,600 Confederate soldiers were wounded. But here's the interesting thing: 1,200 Union soldiers went missing, but only 24 Confederate soldiers went missing. Okay, now throughout the Civil War, you're going to see a lot of these stats saying dead, wounded, um, uh, captured, and missing. Missing basically meant that they just took off. They left. Okay. Officially, the Confederacy won. Okay. They were able to fight back the Union, even though they were caught by surprise and they were outnumbered. Because again, look at by the total soldiers, they were outnumbered, but yet they still won. So that brings us to this question. What could be some possible reason why the Union lost in the Battle of First Bull Run if they had the element of surprise and they had more soldiers? So how could they lose? They had more soldiers. They caught the guys off guard. They had the first couple hits. How could they lose? Okay, so I want you to really think about it. Think about battle. Think about war, especially if you played like games um, like Call of Duty and stuff like that. If you guys all have the same weapons, how can one side win if the other side? How can one side win if the other side was able to spot them first, shoot at them first, have more people? How could the other side win? Okay, so think about that. Pause the video, give your response. All right, so I'm going to talk about two major guys from one on each side, one from the north and one from the south, who were basically badasses when it comes to the war. Okay, they were at the Battle of First Bull Run. Okay, the first guy, the Confederate, the Southern group, his name was Thomas J. Stonewall Jackson. History knows him simply as Stonewall Jackson. His picture is the one in gray, the black and white grayish color. All right. He was a professor at the Virginia Military Institute. So this guy knew history. He knew war tactics. He knew all this stuff because, again, he was a teacher. He studied this stuff. Okay. Now, thing is, in the Confederacy, he held a very high position because, again, of his knowledge and his guts, which you're going to hear about right now. There was this guy named General Bernard B. who told his men to look at Jackson, to look how he stands like a stone wall. That's how he got his nickname. Now, the thing is, it's a well-deserved nickname because the thing is, this particular battle he's talking about, Stonewall is just standing there looking at the field, how bad the battle's going, and here's cannonballs just, all around him, and the dude's just standing there, just looking. Gunfires going all around him. He's just standing there looking. He's not even phased by it. He's just okay. We need to send more soldiers on this side. Looks like our ranks are about to be outflanked. Yeah, send some soldiers over there. And again, like I said, cannonballs and stuff like that are coming at him. Doesn't phase him. So that's how we got that nickname. The other guy is William T. Sherman, which is the one in the colored picture. At this point, at the Battle of First Bull Run, he's not really famous, but later on, he builds up in rank and stuff like that, and he becomes a general, and he's best known for this tactic in the South called the scorched earth tactic. Basically, what they would do is when he went into a new town, they conquered that area. They would take the food, water, whatever they needed, and then burn the rest. Houses, markets, whatever. Burn the rest. Okay, that's how they did to every area. So they left a trail of blaze and smoke and fire where they were going. Because again, when they conquered a new area, take what we need, burn everything else. Okay, that's a scorched earth tactic. So my question to you is this: which battle do you feel should officially be the start of the Civil War? Should it be Fort Sumter when the fire first started, or should it be the Battle of First Bull Run? Now remember, Fort Sumter, one side was fighting, the other one side wasn't. Nobody died on either side, right? But for First Bull Run, yeah, it was like legitimate fighting. Both sides were fighting. Both sides they had people dying, things like that. So which one do you feel should be officially the start of the Civil War, and why? Okay, so take a minute, think about it, write it down. All right, so now we come to the exit ticket. So remember, pick one of these two questions. Okay, the first one is what do you think the Civil War, or do you think the Civil War would have turned out the same if Lincoln had been assassinated before he took office? Okay, so if the Baltimore plot actually came true, they actually killed him. Do you think the Civil War would have ended the same, or would it be different? Why do you think this? Okay. And the last question is burning the area you conquered a good idea? So is that scorched earth method, that scorched earth tactic, is that a good idea to do? Yes or no? Why or why not? Okay. So explain it. What do you think? Okay. So again, remember, pick one of these, answer it. Once you're done, that's it for the class. All right. So you guys, hopefully you enjoyed this lesson. Hopefully you learned something new. Okay. So that's it. You guys take care. Please be safe, and I'll see you guys later.